speaking of Catholicism, I was going to thank you, Randy. No, I was going to say something, and I totally lost my train of thought because I was trying to be clever. And, you know, what does it get you? Ethan, what does it get you? You know? Nothing, right? Without any further ado, I would like to bring up our final poet this evening. Jason Bayani showed up at the San Jose Poetry Slam 2001? 2001? And I was like, who's this guy? And then he performed, I was like, oh, that's who he is. Okay, all right. And he's been a force in spoken word ever since. And for someone who's never lived in San Jose, I think he's been probably more loyal to San Jose than anybody I know. And I appreciate it because he brings a level of quality and professionalism that is just unparalleled. I am honored to be able to get to share stages with him and have been sharing stages with him for the last 23 years. And I look forward to the next 23, if not the next 46. Folks, please welcome to the stage, Jason Bayani.
Make sure, just check stage.
Mike's coming.
Huh?
Mike's coming to talk to me.
Does that have beer for there?
What's that?
Does that have beer?
Is that beer? I don't know, actually.
I don't think so.
But there's a 7-Eleven around the corner.
All right. So yeah, you know, I have been coming to San Jose for poetry for a very long time. Also, I'm from Fremont, so it was.
It's not hard.
Yeah, it was right there. You know? It was just the same distance going to San Francisco and over. Yeah. All right. So I've been putting a new book together, and I have like a lot of longer poems in there, and I can't really read the longer poems during the reading. But tonight I can. So, I wasn't sure if I should start with the shorter one and like just drop the long one on you, but I think I'm gonna start with the long one. I do read parts of a poem from José Rizal in here, and he wrote poems in Spanish. And so yeah, just to let you know, in case you like why is he starting to speak Spanish? Well, that's why. So I went to the Philippines in June, and it took me about 5 years to write about the last time I was in the Philippines, which was before that, which was in 2019. And so this was my meditation on the last time I was in the Philippines in 2019. There is a rupture of feeling always there inside. I'm waving my hand around in theoretical space like a dumbass, trying to look for it. This thing I'm trying to share with you. In Tagalog, there is a word, "hugot," which means to pull out. However, it is never used as a verb. Hugot only is. Hugot shares the same nebulous space as deep. You know how when you say deep, you mean profound, but I'm not really trying to think too hard about it. You say something is deep because you're pointing to where it's resonating, an unmapped place. So maybe it is not pulled, it is drawn, it is beckoned, or maybe it just erupts. My theory of the self posits an inner world that lives in a separate dimensional space. We are bigger on the inside. If hugot is and hugot is of, then there must be a where. Hugot is not hugot by merit of feeling or emotion. It must be labored towards. It must be earned. Hugot is often placed under romantic context. In Philippine cinema, it is the outward expression of want, longing, pain. In this, it is the antithesis to Wong Kar-wai's repressed eroticism, which doesn't make it more honest, it just makes it more bold. My cousin is a director in the Philippines. He specializes in romantic dramas. The kind where the trailers feature light-skinned actors with delicate features crying at each other in Taglish under a soft focus lens. In his films, love is gained, love is lost, and we are always struggling to understand where our love must go. In the desperations and passions is where everyone will point to where the Hugo is. But I see the way he holds the male body in his frame. It is gentle and reverent and horny as fuck. Hugo is not a verb, but it is an action, it is a noun in motion. At times, I hear someone say, something has Hugo, but can Hugo be possessed? Is it an object from the depths, or is it the depths itself? And we pull it to the surface, we pull it into language, and from language to voice, from voice to blood and body. Is Hugo offered, or can it only arrive? The way lightning trees in the sky as if to fill a form already laying there. Can I say the Hugo is my own? Is the depths an individual or communal space? And if my Hugo is your, what could we be then? In the Philippines, every goodbye we make in this country will sound like the one I overhear my aunt tell my mother before we leave the family reunion in Woodlawn City. Through tears, I hear her say, I don't want to leave yet, but I have to. This is the refrain. This is the music of departure, always having to go, never wanting to, knowing here is only temporary and there is always the distance between. My father, the last child of 10, has lost almost all of his siblings. There is only his oldest brother, who is bedridden and stays in the downstairs floor of my aunt's townhome. When we visit him, my dad wakes him up, and for a few minutes, he stares at my father's face till he finally utters his childhood nickname, Thick Boy. He says it again to assure himself, Thick Boy, touching my father's face. And there the years fold into themselves briefly. All the years of being collapsing into this moment. Memory which resists form. I will posit then, Hugo also transcends time. My uncle turns to me and says, aren't you the poet? He says, I know a poem, and begins to recite José Rizal's Mi Último Adiós. Adiós, patria dorado, region del sol querida. Often when an elder says bye to me here, they also say, I won't see you again. Perla del mar de oriente, nuestro perdido y dead. I know this is him saying, there isn't time left. Darte voy alegre de triste ustia vida. And I say, Hugo is life within all the losing. Y fuera más brillante, más fresca, más florida, también por ti la tierra por tu bien. And I still don't believe Hugo is something that can be owned, but I do believe it can be given. I can't stop thinking of migration in all its forms, of borders, who has access to move freely, why we move, what we leave behind, who gets to define them, who is left to reconcile with it all. What is the grief, particular grief of movement? I left home once it came running back 2 years later with an ache I still can't reconcile. And I know the other side well, that when you're away, you are away. And you learn to be a person who is there, to make a home of there. And there is a place you will always have to convince yourself is here. Maybe in America, this is why we were first drawn to jazz, then R&B, disco, and hip-hop, the soul of soul music drawn from a depth. Online, I swipe up on a video of 3 Filipino boys singing Beyonce's Listen on some variety show. Each taking turns trying to outbelt the other, slapping a little extra on what they can remember of each of her flourishes. It is a significant amount of mimicry, the intense stares, hand movements crashing downwards to punctuate each note, but is it so? The same soul that when you hear it said out the right mouth feels like it's whipping around the stomach until it echoes into the infinite. What in America has allowed us to access Dumuk more than black art forms? In his soul, Dumuk sees kin. It is said that with Dumuk, what is drawn out is never violent or hateful. There can be anger, there can be frustration, and I will offer rage as well. But the depth it accesses, though it may not be the seat of love, it is loving, it is care, it is wonder, it is Dumuk. And if there is Dumuk, is there also a place that does not abide by Dumuk's rules? On long drives here, I've made a habit of filming out the window. I just want to remember it all, the rush of palm leaves, how the roads cleave into towns and all the storefronts and people walking alongside, all of it so precariously close to my lens. I don't want this to be some blur of memory like all my memory of this land has been. Whenever I was asked what this country was like, I'd have the same answer. It was hot, and it was green. A green unlike anything I had ever seen before. My cousin drives me around the city. We pull to the side of the road and pick bayabas from the car window. He plays a version of "This is the good street, this is the bad street." Takes a photo of me flipping off the Magellan statue. I don't bring up the president. I know how popular he is in this province. And forgive me, I just wanted to have my family back for the few days I was here. Up ahead, I see an Aspen walking across the street and make a joke about how reckless all the dogs are out here. On this road, any sudden movements can send your car into one of the stalls or someone's vehicle or to one of the pedestrians walking down the road. He says sometimes it is just safer to run over the dog than avoid it. As we get closer, it suddenly lays down in the middle of the street. My cousin goes quiet, and I can see a tight purse of his lower lip before he swerves his car around him. When I arrived in the Philippines, over 5,500 people have been murdered in the president's drug war. And someone says people are dying everywhere. Someone says there's such a thing as acceptable dead. Someone says they are not part of a useful and productive society. Someone says they will see we're only trying to liberate them if you just let us kill them enough. Someone says it is sad, it is so sad, but if Dumuk is, then Dumuk must have something it is not. Should we say it is another depth, or does the opposite mean there is no depth to it? Does it live in immediacy, the constant interruption of still? Is it antithetical to life? There's no pervasive madness anywhere, only desperation, and you see it too, the imbalance, all of abundance, sacrifice, lesser gods. Are you present right now? Are you? Where is your rage? Have you held it in all your sacred places? Do you have a quiet place left? Or has it been quietly monetized for passive income and a little bit of ad space? Who holds your thoughts, your passions, all your wild dreaming? I believe it belongs to the depths. I do, but where does it belong to now? In DC Comics, anti-life is an equation of transcendental math. It can be obtained, held, and used to subjugate. The villain Darkseid is written with an obsession for the anti-life equation. When he attains it, he overwrites the formula so that all calculations end up at him. There's a place where Dumuk is and a place where it is not. And the place where it is, I believe, is a place where we feed each other. And the place where it isn't, who does it feed? What is it to be a person who doesn't dream, who is only consumed by what they have and what they can't have? By what are they beheld? The expanse narrows in the immediate. I write towards what I struggle to believe. I'm sorry. I spent too much time learning how to become a world that is comfortable with failure. I'm afraid I've left too much of my hope online. Just let AI learn from it. It can generate more hope with fucked up looking hands. I'm trying to imagine a river. Sometimes you start with a river because there's always a where beyond which the river runs through. It is and it is more, and right there is the path. There in the depths, I am still alone, but I am not apart. I just need us to not be apart. In the depths, all my dead come alive again. In the depths, we pull and we pull until we speak such audaciously.
Wow.
It's so great to share stage with y'all, and like we've been doing shows together for so long, and even like Lorenz, I've seen Lorenz doing spoken word at Filipino festivals way back when I was in, way back in 2000, early 2000s. So it's like, it's awesome that we're here together still doing it, it's dope. Just to say, I did bring my books. I brought my second book, Locus, which I had a show that went with it. And I brought my first book, Amulet, which came out bloody. So if you all want to get those, I have them. Also, I work for Kearny Street Workshop. I'm the co-executive director of the Asian American Arts Organization. If you want to come out to the city and check out some cool stuff that we do, you can go to kearnystreet.org and learn more about it. We got a book fair coming up in September, and we have our festival after in October. So that's what we have. Okay, I'm going to do a really short one because I was really long to close this out. But thank y'all for coming here. Thank y'all for listening to poems. And thank you for all sweating here together. It's great. All right, so I'm just going to do this last one. I also carry a garden flourishing here where everything changes and yet nothing changes. There must be a body which is also a portal that brings us back to ourselves. I imagine a new word for home, a new place of belonging, one that remains untethered to grief. I only want us to be alive in this world. I only want all the quiet we deserve. I imagine a new word for love, one that means here I have made for you a space of living. You make me feel material. We will make this world one of brave imagination. Stillness is also a weapon therein. I imagine a new name for the future, what I want to offer into this space. One that says we brought each other back to life. We were scared, but we did it anyway. The place of dying can be left to our older selves. Here, we retain our quiet. Small is beautiful, and the future is.